Today we'll be discussing Department of Health and Human Services Child Protection as an organisation.
So I'm Steph and I'll be doing the history of the organisation. This will entail development since the 1970s and 80s, the legalistic approach to child protection, which changed in the 90s, new protection models, as well as the Child, Youth and Families Act, which changed in 2005.
Hi, I'm Jackson, and I'll be doing the goals, mission, beliefs, and vision. So I'll be going through what the goals, vision, mission, values, and beliefs, and also the specific values, which are respect, integrity, collaboration, accountability, and innovation.
I'm Beck, and I'll be discussing the structures and programs in the organisation and how these have changed since it's become DHHS, and also what social workers do in child protection services.
I'm Chelsea, and I'll be discussing public information that is about child protection. I'll be discussing the best interest case model. I'll also be discussing what information is available to the public from certain areas in Victoria, and I'll be talking about the Children, Youth and Families Act 2005.
I'm Brendan. I'll be looking at policy governance, and we'll be looking at Victoria government, community action and the awareness, government funding and impacts, what it is.
Is that it? Are you still filming?
Okay, so Seth, what is the early history of the department, and did this change in the early stages?
In the late 19th century, Australia imitated the system that was in place in America and England. This is a form of charitable help. This was established as a program which was state-orientated non-government initiatives which were responsible for investigating and reporting neglect and abuse of children. The 20th century showed changes of a more professional interest as the issues were viewed to be pressing. These pressing issues were then established by medical professionals, and an increased awareness of the issues was evident with the public now interested in preventing these social problems. At this time, welfare departments were established and government bases were developed.
And how has the DHHS evolved over time?
Development was notable in the 1970s and 80s, with state governments vastly developing.
And have there been many developments in the 21st century to child protection system?
Including improvements being made to investigation processes and dealing with child protection as a whole. There were notable changes in society at this point, with families no longer being of nuclear, but they were in fact a large amount of single parents emerging. This impacted the scope of families in the welfare system, which significantly added to the complexity of dealing with child protection. At this time, the definitions of neglect and abuse provided by differing states were changed to include the varying dispositions that were now evident. The focus at this time was changed to include neglect and abuse of children up to the age of 18 years rather than just children of a young age. In the 1990s, the legalistic approach was established, which involved the differing states of Australia attempting to professionalise the given response to neglect or abuse in families, and in particular, child protection work became more focused on the legal response to allegations of the said abuse.
Have there been many developments in the 21st century for child protection system?
With the public interest of neglect and abuse becoming more and more common, the very high amounts of allegations of abuse began to make the amount of casework difficult to manage for workers in child protection. New protection models and an improvement of balance between services and supports for families were achieved at this time. The assessment of family needs and understanding of issues has improved dramatically with the collaboration of workers that now specialise in child protection, including social workers, case managers, and as well as individuals who work in case support. The social worker spoke of one leading influence in some of the changes of DHHS child protection, and this woman was Robin Miller. She is responsible for groundbreaking the groundbreaking development of creating and expanding the changes in child protection, which were addressed by the 2005 Children and Youth Families Act. Robin Miller undertook multiple researches and went on to further educate about the importance of protection, which then vitally improved the department's section of DHHS.
Are there any really significant changes that are being made in child protection recently?
The child protection social worker at DHHS that we spoke to believed that the 2005 Children, Youth and Families Act was an important development in the recent history of child protection. The social worker stated that this document, which is commonly used as a guide by differing services, including Child First, which is a separate initiative from DHHS, provides more of a cumulative and emotional response to issues that the document that was previously used. The social worker provided that there hasn't really been much change in recent times, but went on to explain that the reevaluation is an important development which the organisation commonly deals with, as times and values of society are often changing.
Are there any concerning issues that are evident in relation to child protection being strictly a statewide rather than a countrywide resource?
As earlier stated, child protection at Department of Health and Human Services is a Victorian state initiative, and each state follows different legislation and acts. This can cause issues which may be faced if a client is to move interstate, as there are dissimilar court orders and acts that must be adhered to in the separate states. When interstate issues become a problem, the police are generally used as a common entity to help resolve immediate issues.
So Jackson, what are the goals, missions and beliefs of DHHS?
So the goals and the vision. So their vision is to support and enhance the wellbeing of all Victorians. They aspire to be an organisation where everyone is committed to achieving their vision and demonstrate their values in all that they do. Their mission as the Department of Health and Human Services is to support Victorians most in need to live safe and happy and fulfilling lives. And their values and beliefs as the Department of Health and Human Services are central to the way that they deal with clients, colleagues and suppliers.
Specifically, what are the values?
So some of their values are to be respectful, so to treat people with fairness, objectivity and courtesy, to listen and communicate honestly and clearly, to seek to understand others' perspectives, experiences and contributions, and to recognise and value people's diversity, equality and human rights. The next is integrity, which is focused on being trustworthy in what they do with the client and what they say, to be professional in all dealings with others, and to stay true to all values when it's easy and when it's difficult. Next is to collaborate, so help each other as colleagues, to generously share each other's knowledge, expertise and skills, to work in partnership with people and organisations to find the best approach, and to be inclusive and seek people's input and involvement. They also strive to care for people, families and communities. This will involving people in decisions that affect their lives, to value their colleagues and develop and support them to be resilient and effective, to have empathy for people and seek to understand their perspectives, to support and empower people through our work, and they also strive to be accountable, so they take ownership of the quality and demonstrable impacts of their work, to ensure that the decisions and actions are evidence-based and outcomes focused, and to be careful about and transparent in how they use public resources. And the last one is to be innovative, so this will involve being flexible and creative and responsive to changing needs, to have courage to take informed risks and try something new, and to be reflective and seek feedback to inform and shape their work.
So who's involved in creating these goals, values, missions and beliefs?
So for DHHS in Victoria, it's the team at head office in Melbourne. So these people will do research, training and write policies, and these people through that process will develop the goals, values, beliefs and missions.
What was the social worker's input
So their input towards these goals, they didn't actually, and values and beliefs, they didn't actually make them, but she did them like in the field, and she did this by supervision, having collaborative relationships with her clients, and being client focused. So trying to do what's best for the clients and not just for the organisation.
What did they hope to improve as an organisation?
So they hope to be more client focused, and they hoped that the workers didn't change as much. Sometimes when they're working with a family, their workers would change a lot. So they were hoping to have just more specific, and also to be a bit more family focused. Sometimes they aren't family focused enough and more worried about the organisation.
Will there be any changes, or did they believe there should be?
There won't be any changes, and they didn't believe there should be, as they thought that the principles and values that they follow are what they need to do. As long as they follow them, then these were hopefully generally in the best interests of the child and family.
So, Rebecca, how is DHHS structured to best suit the need of their clients?
The Department of Health and Human Services is a service delivery organisation, and it supports Victorians in need to live better lives and achieve their full potential. So with their partners, they try to support people in crisis and help individuals and families get their lives back on track. Work with families, individuals, young people and communities to improve their lives, through building capabilities and resilience, supporting participation in work, education and community, and provide services to support people in need to enjoy quality life.
How has this structure changed since changing from DHS to DHHS?
They are creating an operational environment that is able to deliver a more integrated, person-centered approach in a manner that is sustainable over the years to come. The new arrangements strengthen their ability to deliver a consistent range and level of services across the state, and allow more flexible resource allocations so clients have support when and where it's needed. This change has not affected the child protection services, and at the moment there are no plans to change the structure of these.
What kind of programs and services does DHHS provide?
DHHS provides a range of programs and services to cater for Victorians in need of departments and programs, community participation, child and family services, disability, housing and accommodation, and youth-specific services. Some examples include family service programs, family violence prevention and support, adolescent support programs, career youth justice programs, social housing advocacy and support programs, youth mental health services, and refugee environment programs.
In child protection services, what does a social worker's job involve?
The social worker we saw said they have 3 areas in child protection. These areas are intake, where they decide what cases need to be further assessed and what cases don't have enough information for them to be looked into. Investigation response, where they further assess families and whether children are at risk of harm. And long-term case management, where they work to provide long-term care for children.
Chelsea, what is the best interest-based practice model?
The best interest case practice model delivers a basis for working with children, including the unborn child, young people and families. This model aims to reflect the new case practice direction arising from the Children, Youth and Families Act 2005 and the Child Wellbeing and Safety Act 2005. This model specifically is designed to inform and support professional practice in family services, child protection, placement and support services. The model aims to achieve successful outcomes for children and their families. It is also based on a sound professional judgment, a culture that is committed to reflective practice and respectful partnership with the family and other service providers.
So what is the easiest way to access information?
The social worker spoke to us about the easiest way. So that is to come in and speak to them or speak to a professional about information they want to know more about, or just gain knowledge through their government website.
Are there any meetings held to inform individuals about
She stated that meetings are held at Dhhs in Bendigo and also in Melbourne. They're held annually. We found that it was rather interesting that they held meetings with students rather than from the public.
Who is in control of what information is released to the public?
So the government is in charge of what information is released to the public. The workers themselves and team managers don't have a say in what information is released.
What are the 3 policy objectives of the Children, Youth and Families Act of 2005?
So the first policy objective is to promote children's best interests, including a new focus on children's development. The second policy objective is to support a more integrated system of effective and accessible child and family services with a focus on prevention and early intervention. The third policy objective is to improve outcomes for children and young people in the child protection service unit and to out-of-home care service. And DHS is also legally binded by the service.
So Brendan, who is the DHS funded by?
So the DHS is solely funded by the Victorian government. And that's it.
Who is the Minister for Families and Children?
The Minister for Families and Children in Victoria is Jenny McCass. That's pronounced right.
From the interview with the social worker at DHS, what governance was the social worker inclined to change?
So from the interview, social worker talked about more community awareness around social issues, whether that be housing, drug and alcohol, family violence. So getting some integrated support around that. And she also spoke about more funding to provide support services, so like a referral base or linking in with other agencies.
What is the key issue regarding governance for DHS?
Funding is seen as a big issue, even though from the last budget that's increased, but yeah, funding is the biggest issue.
What is the impact from the funding being an issue?
Higher staff demands with clients, so they can't cap, as an example, at 10, so there's no cap, so it's just got to keep rolling through. So that can bring about higher staff turnover because of stress and staff pressures, which can bring about decline of productivity or staff delivery. So it's just trying to get cases through instead of looking at it holistically. So that's pretty much it. But
Is there enough support holistically in the Victoria government to provide services to children and families accessing DHHS?
Funding again and community action, so that's pretty much it. So that's a big issue for that. So there's not enough support around that.
What can the community do to support DHHS?
Some more funding from governments, to reduce waiting times, to link other services, partnerships and collaborations with DHS. So yeah, from the interviews, so funding and community awareness is a big issue in regards to government. That's it.
I just have a question. What did we all feel would be what would the environment be like culturally to work at DHHS? How do you feel about that?
Well, it seems like pretty professional, but at the same time, relatively.
Yeah, so like the fact that she it was very professional, like she was prompt on time.
Yeah.
But at the same time she was easygoing, she told us the truth, didn't really hide anything.
Yeah, if she didn't know something, she said that she didn't know, she would just try and make something up.
Yeah.
I like that she had preparation with her to help us answer our questions, especially the best interest case.
Yeah, I think she was really knowledgeable, not necessarily the history, but she was of what she did and what
the aim for yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like with the whatever
That
first, yeah, she really knew like how to use that and how to apply it. Yeah. Thank you.